think outside of America?
I mean,
That's
when
the
we're live.
topic. Everybody, we are live again. Dynasty Mirror, Search for a Guru. And I have the brother, we're back to back this Saturday afternoon. The brother Amir Rahh, all the way from Nairobi. He's in, Nairobi, Kenya. He's lives in Mombasa, but he's in Nairobi currently. And today's topic is, why don't Black Americans think outside of America? Amir Rahh, is it because we're just too comfortable here in America, or what are your thoughts on that?
It's the I know what it is. It's the fact that we don't have an identity, and coming to a place like Africa, we feel it. I can say it like that. We feel that lack of identity, and some of us quickly embrace the fact that, okay, we're an Americans, while others try to have a separate identity from America, but they kind of semi go back and forth. Like when they're amongst the Africans, they tend to think like, I'm an American. And then America has a problem. It has a very bad ego problem. And like many countries, they propagandize the population to believe that their country is good and other countries are bad. And this is another thing that Black Americans need to look at when they're watching the news and when they're watching these shows that come out and they start talking about Africa, or if they come talking about the United States. Now, look, all these things that they have said about Africa, what they say, they said so many, negative things about Africa. But do you know, in the month of July, in the United States, they done had 100 some earthquakes. They done had major flooding throughout Louisiana, and they've also had blackouts in New York.
Today we had one in Atlanta the other day. It wasn't for long. It was like maybe 3 hours, but
Yeah, but I'm saying if that would have been in Africa and the lights would have went out for 20 minutes, that would have been headline news. But I walk around here and say, "Did you hear anything about the earthquakes?" Vaguely. No. He said no. He didn't hear nothing about the earthquakes. So you see, we got to pay attention that we've been propagandized, not only with false information, but the way they withhold information from us. Now, they wouldn't do this if we weren't valuable. I mean, if Africa was a shithole country, as they say, I'm sure America would be telling Blacks, go to Africa then. Go to Africa then. All over the place. Now, there's some of them white guys that say go back to Africa, but that's it. They ain't gonna never go beyond making a statement. But the fact is, the white people in America's greatest fear, not so much today, but their greatest fear is Black people leaving the United States in some sort of numbers. Mm-hmm. You can say mass, but people think mass. Some people think it's 1 million. Some people think it's 100. I say a mass number would be like 200. If 200 brothers jumped up and advertised on the news that they was leaving America and never coming back, this would just turn people's whole attention to a different direction. Now they start saying, well, what's in Africa? Now people really would start investigating in and seeing for themselves. But this is why there's so much negative propaganda about Africa. Not that it's true. It's just that they have to do that in order to keep us on America's side, because we still have value to white America. And like they said on the other talk show with Boyce Lydell. No, is it Boyce Lydell? No, I'm thinking of somebody else. But they were saying basically, now I lost my train of thought. This wine. So, but my point is, my point is that we have been brainwashed, and they'll continue to brainwash us because we have a value to them. We're a value here in the United States. And just like with BBC, if anybody knows the BBC newscast, their whole thing is to talk about all around the world, talk about negative stories to make you think like England is a great place. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Because they would be like Ireland. It gets devastated every time, once a year, when all of the students get out of school and they leave the country. You see, so we as Black Americans, they really put a hurting on us as far as making us believe we're part of them, yet we're not part of them. You see, because uh, you can talk about the way the economy is, and the fact that blacks only own 0.5% of the nation's wealth. Now, somebody just takes that like a tagline, but really think about it. You only you can't be the largest minority at one time and then end up owning only 0.5% of the nation's wealth. We can't, I mean, if you really got to think about what that means, because even if you somehow got money, it doesn't mean anything because you have no power as a people, because there's not going to be too many people that's going to be there of color to support you in any idea that you have or any kind of business concept. You would have to do business with whites and Mexicans and Chinese and Asians. You would have to. You know what I'm saying? So that and the other line is because I keep saying it, there's no black community. People, do you really can you really understand the connotations of we don't have black community? I mean, really stop and think about it. And then just like the plane that crashed into the Pentagon, let's not talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Where is those passengers? Where are those black people that was in those black community? You know what I'm saying? We just ignore that instead of really analyzing. And if you analyze it, it's like watching a horror show. You just gotta when the monster come out, you be like, no, you turn your head, and you don't want to watch the movie more than one time. So we gotta take it more seriously with the issue of what is happening to us in America. This guy Antonio, for all the things that all the points he had in his pocket, he was ready to present. It doesn't make any sense because you're ignoring the fact that all these facts that are happening to us. You know, like the prison rate going up 1,800%. How? And while the crime rate is going down. Surely, you know, we really need to. And I mean, not on the show anymore because we're beyond that. We really need to take some soul searching ourselves and look into it and then say it. But anyway, I wanted to introduce you to my main business partner here in Kenya.
Hey, I was gonna say, man, it's very dark. We could barely see you guys. Is there like some light you could turn on so you can see the brother?
Hey, James, any get some extra light? Huh? James. Oh, he's got his earplugs in. I think that's it. Unless I turn on my, hold on.
Oh. Okay. All right. Well, go ahead and introduce your brother next to you.
Yeah. Okay. This he's never been on the show before, and I don't know. I'm see if he's gonna amaze me. So you've been doing business with me for almost about 20 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you say as far as me as a person, as you know me as a Black American, you're talking to a Black American audience, who many of them say that the Africans don't like us, don't like Black Americans. So can you just talk on that?
Well,
This is Dinus. Say hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. How are you? Well, I believe that whatever you're being told or you heard on TV is not true. I met Amen 20 years ago. And I've took him as a brother and have have so many business since he came to Kenya. He slept in my place, I walked to his place, and everything always works so nicely. We love our brothers, we love visitors, and we embrace everything that we get from them. Yes.
Where's that chat line? Where's that chat room saying, Linus Dynasty?
They're saying that you're not serious. Some are saying that the reason why we don't think outside of America is because we built America, you know.
Oh. Okay, and there's another point I wanted to make there because I know you got those haters there. O'Shea was telling me that I came to Kenya because I was wanted for I don't know what crime, either crime or child support. And I wanted to point this out. I don't owe anybody any child support. I don't know whatever they might be saying in the U.S., but I was there when all my children were born and raised them. So I left in 97 before this child support thing was a big issue. But some people are going around spreading those lies. That's jokes. So I just want to get that out there.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I know it's his first time because him talking online, and I just want to go out and point out that what he's saying is the sentiment for most Kenyans. Nobody is hating on anybody, and if you got any value, of course the Kenyans would pick that up, and then and would give you an opportunity. You see, I introduced the martial art, but they trusted me enough to let me teach them so that they could see if it was value, if there was really value in it. You understand what I'm saying to you? They trusted me. And so beyond all the things that we say back and forth, if the African didn't trust the Black American, there wouldn't be no business connect any which way. And all I can say is that in my 20 years of being here, I've never had any one of them come to me and say the things that I get all the time on the chat room from my brothers in the U.S. All the negative comments they put there. You don't see Africans putting in them kind of negative comments because it's not in their nature. And I love that. And I'm saying that we need to get back to that as Black people. We're too long into dealing with the caveman mentality, the people that we're living amongst. And rudeness is just a thing that we just automatically do. But a lot of the people, especially in Africa, are not like that. And it is a great benefit, especially when you get older. So we need to start looking at that kind of thing and start thinking about what's going to happen when we get older. James made some really good points about 401k1. If you don't have so much money, what you're going to do. A lot of these guys are retired. They're getting a small pension. They don't think about coming to Africa where their money could be
right.
You know, if you got, I can't let you see. Can you see this guy's house?
You can't see. I can't really see it. No, I just see the.
Yeah, you can't really see it. You know, he's living like a king, man. I'm jealous. And he's been here 4 months. So, and you got a beautiful woman here. This is what you can get, as opposed to what you be getting in America, where the young people won't even give you the seat on the bus. You know, give the seat for and they don't have a problem with seeing that you might be old, you might move too slow, walking too slow. They take you as a victim. You see. And that's what I'm saying. These are the benefits that we have. And I don't understand today why we don't do more talking about the business aspect of coming here, because you're gonna come here, you gotta live. That's true. As opposed to trying to always put Africa down or say that the Chinese are taking over, or these silly things that no one can even register. Like somebody was saying 26% unemployment rate in Nigeria. Who went and did this count? in Nigeria, the most populous
Well,
country.
well, the thing is, it doesn't matter. How does that pertain to you coming over? Like, again, I mean, if you're a Black American, if you relocate to Nigeria, you don't come to Nigeria looking for a damn job. Me personally,
Exactly.
unless you're working with some corporate multinational corporation, and you could transfer over to Nigeria with that same job. But I'm not hitting the streets with my resume looking to work at Echo Bank. You know what I mean? Be a branch manager at Echo Bank. So it's like,
Yeah. You know, I think a lot of that is based off fear that they would not be able to make it when they came to Africa, and I understand that a lot about our people because we have been trained like that. When they give us welfare and put us on welfare, this is one of the things that it does is it cements us to living and staying in America. So if you ever wonder why did the government give us subsidies like this, it's because they don't want us to leave. And they know if they give us a check every month, of course, you're not going to go you're really not going to go anywhere. Then there's the debt trap, where they can override you with debt, especially when you're in college. They saddle you full of debt, and you really can't leave the country with that debt. Now, there was an article I read about a lot of white college students was leaving the country so that they wouldn't have to pay these fees.
Right.
And I'm saying that college is obsolete, and it's a failed concept in today's world with Google and all these and Amazon. These companies have changed the face of, they have destroyed. I mean, they have removed the need for a library. That's one thing, and then on another side, going to college it just makes no sense. So I was watching the video where one of these popular success leaders were talking, and he was showing a device where you speak into it and you ask it a question and it answers. And Google, I remember Google has this. I forgot what it's called, where you ask, what is the capital of Afghanistan, and then it comes back and gives you the information. So what do you need college for? You see what I'm saying? Now, if we get past that question, then we can say, well, I can come to Africa and bypass that. You know what I'm saying? Because Africans move slower. They don't know nothing about this device I'm talking to you, but you guys know what it is. What is it, Corina or something like that? You ask it any kind of question. What is the weather today? What is 60,000 times? So that it gives you the answer right away. Yeah, Siri. Yeah, and we could take that concept and bring it to Africa, because they're going to pick up that for another 5 years. I can tell you that now. And run away with it. We can. I mean, there can be so many ideas we can do with it. It's the same with my digital revision course. It's not new, but it's just new concept in Africa. You see what I'm saying? And then by being here, I'm able to tweak it in a way that Africans show that they accept it and they like it. So this is what I'm saying. This is the stage where we should be at, instead of talking about propaganda lies. Because somebody was asking me about the Dr. Moonby show.
Yeah.
I'm like, I only asked one question. After you watch the Dr. Moonby show, do you feel like you want to come to Africa? That just tells you the story about the show. Oh, she flips flop back and forth, but at the end of the day, these negative things she talks about, and others do, and others too. Even what's his name, LaCreek, Hidden Colors guy,
Tariq Nasheed.
Tariq, yeah, he done went all Black American. He just he done shown he's just like I'm for Black Americans, and then he be on the show talking about this and that. Then he slip and say, we got to do this in the Black community, and it's no Black community, so he's really fooling himself. And that is,
Amaral, real quick, can you speak on this, I guess, illusion of the Black community? Like,
yeah, I grew up in Los Angeles, and as you know Pico Boulevard.
Of course I do.
Yeah, and then all the way down to Rosecrans. Rosecrans.
No. Pico doesn't run all the way down to Rosecrans.
Well, it's been a long time. Where am I talking about? Okay, there's Manchester Avenue,
Yeah,
Rosecrans.
Manchester.
Yeah. So I'm saying from there, from La Cienega Boulevard over to Alameda Street, when I was young, that was all black community.
Right.
No, I forgot when I was coming up, I didn't know.
Not anymore. It's Hispanic.
It was policemen. Yeah. But you see now, I'm older, so I can go back and see the change from far. I was like, when I remember there was no such thing as AIDS. Then they invented that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm old enough to see it, and I'm just lucky I got good health and a good memory, so I can come back and tell you this thing is like this. But there's a problem we have, and I don't want you to lose your show when I talk about this. I'm going to talk about 9/11 a bit. Now, this building number 7, I've heard it 1,000 times. Building number 7 fell in free fall, and nothing hit that building. But nobody wants to talk about that. You see? And see, that's an obvious example we have today. And we have so many of them that's tied to us as black people. Nobody wants to talk about those things. And I submit to you that when you bring them all, when you collect all of that and you look at it, the common denominator is they don't want us to leave the United States. They don't want it. So you ask yourself, why don't they want us to leave? And it becomes inherently important. It becomes clear that if we moved to Africa, we would come back to be ourselves. It would not happen in one person's lifetime, but your life would slowly come back into the norm. Now, despite all of the fact that every community that we had is gone, nobody wants to talk about that. Harlem is gone. Detroit is gone. DC is gone. You know what I'm saying? Where is it? Oakland is on the way gone. LA is long gone. And this is what I'm talking about. Pico and Rosecrans, all that used to be black. My Kenyan woman that had it when I came here, her younger brother came to America, and he was in the mindset, he was Kenyan. And I was before I came to Kenya. And he was saying, my mom told me not to hang around black people or their gangs and things like that. So I put him in my car and drove him from Pico and told him, now look around. Do you see any white people? Do you see any guns? Do you see any gangs? You see, to try to make his mindset change. But he now he moved to Los Angeles, but he later moved. Now he has to move to Phoenix because he can't afford to stay in Los Angeles. And this is a Kenyan brother that came here and got his citizenship at the end of the day. So when you look at it, it's like when he came, I left. So you look at and compare our lifestyles and see that, damn, it's a big difference. Now the issue with me is I'm special, and I don't mean it in an egotistical way. It's just that my life circumstances and being an entrepreneur in the United States made it easy for me to make it in. When I came to Kenya, like I was telling James here, I had to move to a 1-room small place in the not so good neighborhood, and I had to live there for some time until I got myself situated, and I could do that. But like we were saying with James, it's like some brothers come here and they still got this class mentality where, oh no, I could never live on such and such. I could never do that. Or what you mean you don't got running water? Blah blah blah. You see how? No, I could never. And some of us even look down at the people that don't have running water. And I had to really tell them that the majority of people in the world don't have running water, and they get along fine. And they help their neighbors, and they're very happy. You see. Now I was listening to President Trump. And
real quick, let me read these super chats. Shout out to Lakeem Muhammad. America was never for us from the beginning. And then shout out to brother Holism. As certain Guru, do continental Africans in Kenya and on the continent support the concept of an independent diaspora nation state, or do they consider us having social, economic, and political control over our reality divisive?
No, we don't have any. We don't have any type of control over anything as long, and we won't have as long as we stay in America. And as long as brothers have the same kind of mindset that America has something, uh, we're going to be. They're going to be in trouble
No, no.
because
No, the brother's question is: Black Americans or the diaspora having their own nation state in Africa. Is that seen as something that is? I guess will it be accepted? I guess.
no, it can't. Okay, that's not That's impossible. Let me repeat that. That to have own nation state in Africa is impossible because we don't have a culture. We don't have an identity. We are part of the American montage. And when you come to Africa, you're gonna be walking around and you're gonna say like, "Oh, there go another Black American." Oh, you go there, you talk to him, "What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?" But you're not gonna connect. You see what I'm saying? Because of the tragedy of having your name stolen from you and nobody helping you while they was whipping you. So it's like that. And talking with James once again. He is he's pointing to the same things that I've been saying all along. It's we don't have a culture, so you're going to be assimilated. What does that mean? It means that you have to look at your life in Africa differently than you look at it in America. When I tell you college is obsolete, and you're going to come to Africa and you're going to get married, you're going to have children, you're going to take them into school, and then you want to take them to college at the end. Do you know what college is going to look like 10 years from now? It's not going to be there. So the whole concept of coming to Africa is to just get onto the Ferris wheel. I'm not the Ferris wheel, but to jump onto that conveyor belt that's moving, and then just become part of it. It's just like me. I came here. I saw what would work. I harmonized it with the society, and then I stepped in. You see, and because the population, and this is very, very important, because the population in Kenya is growing at such a fast and massive rate as in most of Africa, you will see growth. Not like like you don't see real estate growth in Black communities because
Yeah, I did a video on that. Yeah.
our numbers are shrinking. So who's gonna buy the house? You get what I'm saying? You're gonna open up a business on the main road on Crenshaw Boulevard, and you're gonna be selling nice clothes, the kind of clothes we like as Black people. But if the numbers are reducing, who's gonna buy the clothes? You're gonna end up having to buy some what they call them, bandanas. Yeah, yeah, because you're gonna have to get business from other people because we're not enough. Now, somebody right now is in the chat room talking about, but the African don't like us, or terrorists is gonna blow up us anytime. Okay, this is part of this westernized, propagandized mindset. Because
hey, you want to comment on that topic? I'm Mr. Private Brain in the chat.
Yeah, bro.
I'm more or less close to your age, and I've done some traveling. Never been to Africa or any African countries, but I've been to South America. I've lived in Argentina, and the propaganda is incredible because when I was down there was some kind of attempted coup. Wasn't nothing really. In the Washington Post, my mother calls me up and says, "Are you okay? I heard it was blood in the streets and everything." And it was really a conversation that was being had. And that's the same thing that goes on. We're made to hate Africans. My sister-in-law is from the Ivory Coast. I got a lot of Nigerian friends. I used to work at the prison system. It's a lot of Nigerians work in the prison system. And they were always cool with me. So I hear a lot of people say that because maybe Africans put up with the crap that a lot of our people tend to portray, but I don't think they dislike us. I've never had that feeling,
Yeah, I think that the missing link in this thing is the Black leadership. This is the missing link. Our Black leaders are still banking And I wonder if they're being paid to do that. They're really banking on every solution is one where we remain in Africa. Look at Farrakhan. His solution, he can have 1 million men come together, but he don't even mention Africa as an option. And I saw an interview with him, a small interview where he was condescending about Africa, saying, I never said I was going to go to Africa. I never pointed that out. Even though Elijah Muhammad built the nation on the fact that we was going to have a homeland of our own. And that made many
but it's a homeland of our own here in America.
Yeah, there's no home such a thing. And I'm saying this is the trick that America has put on us. Now, people say that the nation was subsidized by white groups. Malcolm said the same thing. Malcolm left the nation when he saw that they were not serious about what they were saying, and then he said that in the interview. So this is what I'm saying. The masses of black people don't. The leadership part of it is control. America is trying to control governments of other countries. Can you imagine? So what are they not doing to us in America as black people? They're practicing with us, and they're taking our leadership and twisting it around. And if you don't, if we get a leader, like if I was in the United States and I was saying go to Africa, it's your best bet, it's your only solution, I would disappear. I have no doubt in my mind that something I wouldn't be there.
That's the reason why Farrakhan is still alive, because with to have that much control to be able to get 1 million black men together, and then if he was to say we need to all go back to Africa, because the nation has enough money to sponsor 2,000 people to go to Africa, he's not doing it because they would kill him, and he knows it.
Yeah. So you see, what I'm saying. And I see the amount of love we have for Farrakhan and others like Farrakhan. But at the same time, we also have a lot of distrust for leaders. And when a strong leader comes up, we do tend to attack them very strongly. But someone
real quick, guys, we have 243 people watching, only 80 likes. Please hit that like button. And I'm gonna read the super chats in a second. Brother, hello, that brother Rolla. I was about to say Rollo. I'm like, Rollo, what you doing calling in from prison? Brother Rolla. Go ahead, Rolla.
Hey man, Dinas, how's it?
Yeah.
Man, I'm from Africa, man. From my accent. I was born in Nigeria, Cross River State, Calabar.
Oh, Bawoni.
Man, I don't speak Ijo.
Oh, Yoruba. What do you speak? What do you speak?
Mm-hmm. I speak Ejagam. That's like a tribe in Cross River State. It's a minority tribe. Yeah. But man, I feel happy, man.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I see a lot of stuff that you traveling back to, going back to Osun State. I like that, man. But what I want to say, man, we Africans and African Americans, we have to be united, bro. The thing is, when African Americans leave America and go to Africa, nobody know you are African American till you speak.
Facts. I said that time and over till you open your mouth.
Till you speak, and then they say, "Oh, you're American," but everybody look just like me and you.
Right.
And that's the thing people don't know. And another thing is
not even that. When I go, they think I'm South African. Then they think I'm Ghanaian. Before I got my Nigerian citizenship.
I mean, they know that because where I'm from, you got people that are lighter than people in this forum. You got people that are more lighter, people that are darker, people that are just look different, and that's the thing. I'm from Africa. I came here like how many? I've been here like 6 years in America, but it's not like when we Africans come here, we also have a problem. We face a problem with our borders here in America, and people don't know that. We face problems here in America. It's hard for us to integrate with the Black Americans we have in America, but it's easy for an African American to integrate in Africa when they go to Africa. When I come here as an African, I live in America, it's hard for me to integrate with Black Americans. It's hard.
Let me ask you, why do you think it's hard for you to integrate with Black America?
one, the way I talk, because I'm African, I speak different. And it's hard for me to integrate with Black Americans because when I talk, they see me as African. Oh, that guy is from Africa. You know, he act different. He doesn't look like us. He dressed different. And that's, you know, I have friends that went to high school here. They were stigmatized by Black Americans because of the way they dress. They dress and they say they dress African, you know. So, but when an African American goes home, we honor them. We glad to see them back. But it's not the same feelings people get when they come back. But I just want to say we should be united in anywhere we find ourselves because we don't know where we might meet. You know, you gotta know where you're coming from to know where you're going. So it's just I like this forum because I like how people are coming together. People live in Kenya. I see my brother from America is in Kenya. I've never been to Kenya, but I hope one day we should be able to travel from one African country to another to link people up, to link people about America. Most of us in Africa don't know about America, how American culture is. We watch it on TV, we watch it on videos, but it's not the same as people tell you what it is. I came to America to know that people are suffering in America. The history that we have back in Africa is like, oh, everybody in America live good. There's no homeless people. You know, everybody is dressing good. Everybody drives in good cars. But that's not the history when you come here and see people suffering. But the thing is, most Americans, if they have not studied that, they think Africa is the same thing, like we live on trees. So you come to Africa and see people live like in good houses. So traveling is part of education, especially when you travel to Africa and see how things is like. That's a little bit of contribution I can say, man. You know, but I'm glad, you know, see people talk about people talk. I mean, it was hard at first to see African Americans mingle with Africans to talk about things like this. But now this is changing to where you see Africans and African Americans interchanging and intertalking. It's gonna be a point in time where things is gonna be more flexible. Yep.
Absolutely, brother. We appreciate you for coming on, brother. We appreciate you for coming on.
Yeah. Thank you so much, man.
Oh, no, brother. And then we got our brother Fabian's on. Go ahead, brother Fabian.
Greetings, brothers. Good to be with you. I would just say that when we take our position on whether we should stay in America or, you know, go to Africa, I think that our decision should not be so firmly planted. You know, it's not one or the other. We should not, in my humble opinion, leave America and burn that bridge and never come back, or, you know, say stay in America and never go to Africa. Some people ask, you know, why, if we're going to Africa, you know, you're telling us to go to Africa, why are all the Africans coming to America? You know, and the question is, we need to have a very thorough understanding of the value of the dollar. Africans are coming to America because they understand the value of a dollar, and they're coming to America to take advantage of that value of the dollar so they can go back and build Africa up. And that is the same exact thing that we should be doing. You know, in my opinion, you know, none of us are 10,000 years old, so we can't give a firsthand account of what happened, you know, throughout time. So, you know, I say that to say we should remain flexible when having dialogue. We should always look at a timeline because, you know, one person's facts may only extend 100 years. And so during that 100-year block of time or 200-year block of time, what they are saying may be correct if they existed in that time. You know, the world's been here a very long time. You know, about millions of years, the world has been here. So that's what I would say. I've traveled to Senegal, Egypt, just got back from Egypt and Ethiopia. I've been to Morocco. I have a vested interest in developing in Africa. That's why I'm going there. And I think the brothers in America should do the same. That's pretty much it.
All right, cool. And real quick, Rahh, if you could respond to Fabian, but first, shout out to Lakeem Muhammad for the super chat. The answer to your, I guess, your statement on Louis Farrakhan is that he believes that the world is ours, so we could build our own nation here in America because the world is ours. What are your thoughts on that statement?
Well, no, and on the Farrakhan issue, I have been listening and analyzing his speeches since 1994, and I've seen how he's transitioned. What he says and what he talks about as far as the nation is concerned is not what is. It's not showing up in action. So, all the businesses that they had when Elijah Muhammad was involved, the fish business, they were like the number 2 producers of fish. All that's gone. And they just have a few mosques, and, the nation is basically going down. And now they're allowing whites and Mexicans into the mosque, something that Farrakhan criticized Wallace Muhammad for doing. He's now doing, because the black population is reducing. He's got to keep up some sort of numbers, and so he was forced to do that, and he did it. So I rather than stick to the principles of it's a black thing. And then what the brother is saying about we should be easy on making the choice of coming to Africa and going back and forth to America. This is my position. There is no way around it. Moving to modern Africa will relieve you of 99% of the problems that blacks have in the United States. Moving to modern Africa is our only escape to the 400 years of oppression. And America is busy cutting off those opportunities for us to go there. You have so much tax debt, you can't go. If you owe child support, you can't get a passport to leave. If you're a felony, you can't get a passport to go. So America is slowly eroding our ability to be to move to Africa. And I'm saying, why are they doing this? It's because they know that if we leave, we won't pay taxes, and we won't be able to support that economy, which is America. So, like, when America was saying, "Bring me your humble masses, and we're gonna give you free land," there's nothing like free land without free labor, and we was the labor force that America used to call all those Europeans to come into America. Now, Europeans in themselves came to America as Polish people, as Irish people, and then once they got here, they realized that they were no longer Irish; they were white, and they were classified as white, and they gave in to that. And now, what makes white so superior? It's the fact that blacks are inferior. That's what. If blacks were not inferior, white wouldn't mean anything. But that is the case, and that's been the case for all these hundreds of years. So, if you look at the actual history of America, there's no doubt in my mind that you'll realize that, hey, we're getting our asses kicked. Now, unless you got a solution, please don't tell me go to Africa and come back to America, because that's like going to Africa and being assimilated and being a part of a culture that is older than the U.S. Or going back to the United States, get my ass kicked, and they're telling me that the next generation, by the way, if you have kids, they're going to be poorer than you are. So I don't understand why we can still sit up here and say, unless somebody's going to come and tell me you're wrong, our situation in America is only going to get worse. How can you talk about black anything without a community?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. I understand.
I think what Fabian was saying, like me, how I think, just I guess get your money here in America and flip it in Africa.
That's exactly.
I ain't talking about building no communities here in America. It's just get your money and then flip it in Africa.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And I respect your perspective. And everything. I'm in complete agreement with everything that you're saying. But what I'm saying is that you take Senegal, for example. $1 American is worth nearly 600 CFA, right? So we can do quite a bit with American dollars in Senegal and other countries in Africa where the currency exchange rate is so vast. All right. So in America, we, even with all the stuff that that we're experiencing in America, we can still make good money here and use that good money that we're making here in Africa. That's what I'm saying.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, but let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
How is it that 1 unit of U.S. currency is worth 600 or 700 units of an African currency, yet we're the ones with all the minerals and the wealth?
Well, I like to respond to that. Okay, so the American dollar.
Now I'm saying this is what I'm quoting from. I'm quoting from an African who was on TED Talks, and she exposed this information, this question. And I'm saying that one of the steps that Africa is going to go through is recognizing this issue of the currency. And if you didn't know, in 2014, I think it was, the WTO has recognized the Chinese yen as a currency that can be traded in. Yeah, so this is, I'm saying the direction that this thing is going with China is going to cause a lot of problems for the U.S. and is causing problems for the U.S. You already see countries hoarding gold. You already see people trying to get themselves off of the dollar as far as trading in oil, and you see America's response to that. And I'm saying, as an investment, because you're talking about getting the money and investing, what a lot of Black Americans don't realize is what's going on internationally with America. They tried to get the Venezuelan oil, they couldn't do it. They tried to change the leadership in Syria, but we're not able to do it. And I'm saying that these things tie into us. The American dollar, by everybody's standards now, is going to fall. And the Chinese are positioning themselves to be the dominant currency. They're already the dominant economy since 2014. So I don't know what anybody is saying that they're coming up. They have already surpassed the U.S., but that wasn't in the news. But so when you talk about, I get what you're saying, because I benefit from the exchange rate myself. But I'm just saying that this is not the thing we should really be focusing on, because what we're going to do with that money, you know what I'm saying? If you don't have the right mindset, what you going to do with that money, that extra money you get? Are you going to go buy a house? Are you going to buy a car in Africa? Are you going to turn into a capitalist in Africa? Think about it. Okay, you got to think about that. The problem that we have, and I'll let you have the mic after this. The problem is that our leadership in America, black leadership, is not using Africa as an option. Let me repeat that. The Black leadership in America is not talking about Africa as a possible solution. And until we get enough backbone to actually do it, and I can understand the fear that goes around people that make them not be able to say things. Until we get enough backbone to jump up and say that, America is not going to respect us, and they're just going to find a way to trick us into staying even longer. But if we can get a Black leadership to say, hey, if you don't treat us right, we're going to leave. I think you'll find America now's tone will now start to switch.
Let me read the super chat, then you can respond, Fabian. Shout out to let's go. Here we go. Shout out to Blazing Hot 99. From my understanding, Africans are cool with African Americans, but they don't like the N words. N words present as ratchet, obnoxious, and self-defeating. These behaviors are presented in the African culture. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Fabian.
Okay. So, again, I agree with what you're saying. So to respond, what makes America valuable? Okay. And I'm not in a posture where I'm just trying to defend America. All right. I see the atrocities that happen to us here. That is why, my mind is open. That's why I've been traveling to the continent. A show that we did a few days ago, we discussed the point that you exactly brought up. And my position was, come to Africa, start an import-export company, start bringing heavy equipment so we can develop infrastructure. That was on another show. Okay. What makes America is the fact that it is, number one, it's infrastructure. So in every state in America, every city, every county, you have wastewater and water treatment plants. Okay. In addition to that, you have a military that's able to deliver nuclear weapons from land, air, and sea. Still to this point, the greatest military the world has ever seen. All right. In terms of defense. Okay. You have a currency that has had a very long, consistent history of performing well. You have, America is a great manufacturing hub. America has a high GDP, gross domestic product. So all of those things add value to the American dollar.
Okay, can I say?
Wait,
Hold on a second.
The
GDP in America is that high.
Hey, Amaral, let me finish. Or go ahead.
Okay. So my point simply is this, take advantage of where we are, because if we don't make money in America, when we get to Africa, right, who is in need of infrastructure, who is in need of development, like we can't hop on a plane, come to Africa and look for a job the same way that we would here in America, because the population in Africa needs those opportunities that are, that are being made available for the local people there. So for us, and the other thing is what you said is correct when you say that, the United States as a whole, isn't looking to do anything for Africa. So we as individuals have to do something. China's coming in, and being supported by their government. When we come into Africa, we're coming in as individuals. Okay. So the rate of progress is going to be different, because me, Fabian, an individual, I'm not coming in with nuclear capabilities. If something happens to me in Africa, the United States isn't coming to bail me out. I'm in trouble. Right. So my plan is make money here in America so I can use that money in Africa to develop there. That's all that I'm saying, because maybe you have another solution that I cannot see, but wherever you go, you're going to need money to build whatever it is that you want to build. If you're going to build roads, houses, businesses, you need money, right? And where are we going to get it from? Where are we going to get it from?
Okay, let me help you.
Yes,
let me help you real quick.
Yes, sir.
And when I'm asking you this question, I'm not asking you personally. I'm asking this to everybody.
Yes, sir.
After you come off a long, hard day of working in the import-export business in Africa, where do you go? You go to.
So if I'm in Africa,
I'm saying, where's your wife? I'm not saying it personally. Don't take it.
No,
but I'm just making things. Where's your home? Is your wife and kids? Where are they?
It just depends. It depends. If I'm exporting goods from America to Africa, I'm in America. If I'm importing goods from Africa to America, I'm in Africa. So when I'm in America, I'm gonna sleep at my homes in America, and when I'm in Africa, I'm gonna sleep at my homes in Africa. I mean, I don't. Where how else? I think what you're trying to say is, if I'm in Africa and I'm exporting and my goods get there, where am I going to go to sleep? I'm going to go to sleep wherever the sun sets on my body.
No, I didn't say sleep. I said family. I said
See,
family.
There's one thing that I think that is not really being said in this. We're looking at it like opportunities, but I think what you have to look at it like, I'm a student of history.
Yes, sir. You
have to look at this point in history and equate it to 1933. 1933. Yes, so there was a time when a lot of stuff was going on, when they were going after the Jewish population in Germany, and everyone was saying, no, this can't be true. No, they wouldn't do this. They wouldn't do that. So they, and they were looking at it like, oh, opportunities. But what you have to look at it like, when you look at what's going on, it just yesterday, a news article came out. Alexandria Cortez, AOC,
Yeah.
all of her people are going after everybody on the Congressional Black Party. Okay, not that I care about them, because I don't, because they haven't done nothing for us, but they're going after every one of them instead of Republicans. So they are systematically going after Black folks, and the clock is running down. And this is really a time for, I say, escaping America, because we think we got time to make money, do this and that. Well, we have to think about is setting up something over there so we can be alive.
Brother, I totally agree with you. How are we going to finance it? As I said,
I get it. I understand what you're saying.
We don't have a government behind us that's giving us money to go do an expedition to build something. So when we go from where we are to our new place, right? How are we going to pay for it?
That's where I agree with you on that.
And that's my point. The nostalgia, the history, I mean, all those things are important, but I'm just a numbers, brick and mortar business type of guy. How are we going to wherever we go, how are we going to build it? How are we going to finance it? We can't go there and ask the African people for money. It would be rude for us to show up begging for money. We don't want to go there like that. We want to eliminate all of our debts here. At least this is in my humble opinion. We want to eliminate all of our debts here in America. We want to use America to make passive income, anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 to $30,000 a month. We then want to take probably about 85% of that money that we make here in America and invest it in Africa to build businesses, living spaces, to do import and exports of heavy equipment, farming equipment, pharmaceuticals, etc. And then build an infrastructure there that we, build an economy there where we can survive. That's all that I'm saying. I totally agree with all of your positions, all the things that you're saying. My point is, how are we going to finance it? How are we going to get the money?
I just don't think we have the time. That's the only problem.
I see where you guys are at, and I've been there. At the end of the day, you come home and you have a wife and you have children that are in school and you're raising your children. Are you raising them African or are you raising them in America? That's my point. Because at the end of the day, all the money you make is going to go towards something. And Africa, that something is family and extended family. Not a new car, not a new house, not new clothes. It's about family. And
yes,
as far as being Black American and knowing that I'm going to be assimilated, I'm going to die a Black American in Kenya, but my children are going to be Kenyan. So you can't live and love your job, but you can have a family and have children, and then you can raise your children with a certain philosophy. And that philosophy is what? That's what I'm saying. Now, all the money you make, you can use it, but I'm saying at the end of the day, what's your philosophy for your children to pass on? Because you're going to be 60 like me. You're going to be 70 years old. I talk about this on my YouTube channel all the time. You're going to have to think about that, and it's going to come quickly. 10, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, you're going to say, like, why am I doing all this? What is the point of making all this money that you're talking about making and exporting? At the end of the day, it's going to be children, and that's what's going to drive you towards the end of your days, helping them and making sure that they're taken care of.
That's the only problem.
I respect that.
And there's a lot of background noise.
That's not me. That's somebody else that just came on. I respect that question, Ryan. I'm not exactly sure how to answer it. If I have it my way and I have the infrastructure set up, and I have a wife and children that are in Africa, then, they're going to be raised in Africa, of course. All I'm simply saying is, we can't leave one place and go to another place without having something to offer and an ability to build. And right now in America, there's still a tremendous amount of opportunity to make money. And I'm speaking from experience. I've purchased properties all over the United States. I make money all over the United States. That money can then be used to build stuff in Africa. And that's why I'm traveling there now. That's all that I'm saying. Everything else, I agree with you guys. But we cannot neglect the financial part of this. We do not want to end up in, we don't want to leave America and go to Africa and be broke and end up in a situation, in a terrible situation. We don't want to go through that. We want to go there and improve wherever we go. We don't want to go somewhere and make it worse. We want to go and improve Africa. We don't want to go there bringing baggage from America. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Real quick, I'm real quick. Let Darius go ahead and respond.
All right. So first, when you make that assumption that when we go back to Africa, that we're going to make them worse off. First of all, one of the key major things that you have to factor is already the resources there. So when we go over there, we already have the resources. We already have the gold, the chromium, iron ore, diamonds, all of that. Now, all you need to do is to work with the government and the people to create jobs. Jobs are created based on a need. You need to have needs. Africa is building right now a wall of a forest in the Sahara Desert. That's going to bring millions of new jobs. And the fact that you have the eco currency there, and Africans will be able to trade with one another, that's going to increase the value, because the determination of a currency is based on how much you trade with it and how much demand it is. It's not based on the fact that, well, we bring our money over there. Listen, the reason why the US dollar is the most valuable is because it's the world's reserve currency. Everybody's using it, and right now we're on a process of de-dollarization. Malaysia's doing it, Russia's doing it, China's doing it. That's what determines a money's worth. Not, oh, the US is this because it's the most powerful. It projects military force because we don't put that much money in. Africa only puts 48 billion, but we can easily turn that around in a matter of 4 to 5 years if we want to and have an agenda.
Okay,
I want to make a quick point on what the guy is saying. You're making this scenario as if you're going to come to Africa and be broke and starving. Okay, you don't have tent cities and people living in the streets like you have in America. You don't have that in Africa, because people care about each other and people help each other. So this scenario that you're thinking of being broke in Africa, this is what's happening to Black people in America to this day. On top of that, the imprisonment rate is also there. So, and on top of that, racism, which is only economic oppression, is also there. You don't have that in Africa. So I'd rather be broke in Africa than be broke in America, if you get what I'm saying. Because I would not be living on. Would you let me live on the streets if I was broke? No, he ain't gonna let me live on the street. I wouldn't let him live on it. He could sleep in my house. You know what I'm saying? But that mentality is not there in the United States because of capitalistic society. So okay. I agree with you. The family is the most important part of everything, and you should focus on that as far as how much money you make.
I agree. I agree with that. Family's important, and I agree with Darius. I know that Africa has a vast amount of resources, and I know that there are foreign companies, foreign nationals that come in, that take advantage of those resources. All right. My point is, Darius, whatever you set up, if you're talking about, the gold, you have to mine that gold. If you're talking about copper, you have to mine that. If you're talking about chromium, all the things that you're talking about, right? In order for us to come in and take advantage of it, we're going to have to set up the infrastructure to be able to mine to get it. So when you're saying,
Fabio, can I interject real quick? I'm sorry. And College Genesis makes a great point in the chat room. And I gotta agree with him, because I've been at the negotiating table. Does he know how hard it is to get an audience in Africa if you don't have $1 million or just?
That's what I'm trying to say. And that's my point.
And Fabio, you have a point, because I was with someone and we were meeting with certain government entities, and they were like, "Okay, great idea. Where's the money coming from? Where's the check?"
That's my point.
And he had to point to the people who were in the meeting with us, like they're gonna cut the check. So you do have a point.
Yeah. So I'm not taking a hostile position with none of the brothers here. I agree with you guys. All I'm saying is that from a business perspective, when you show up anywhere on the planet, what do you have to offer? What is your skill set? How are you going to improve the place that you're going to? How are you going to survive? These are very real questions that we have to ask. And I'm not saying that you ask those questions to say, well, I'm not going. You ask what my philosophy is. My philosophy is this: the only thing worth offering a problem is a solution. That's my philosophy. So if our objective is to move to Africa, okay, what is the plan of action for us to be able to do that? Right? What's the plan of action for us to be able to do that and be successful? What is the very basic nuts and bolts of how we're going to take care of ourselves? That's all that I'm saying. That's it. The family, what you're saying about family, Amin Ra, I agree. Family is the most important thing on the world. You want to raise your children to know how to defend themselves, to be morally sound. You know, you want to raise them to love their culture and to love their history. And that is something that I totally intend to do when I have children. And Darius, the same thing you're saying is correct as well. Africa has an abundance of resources, but if we're just totally honest, that abundance of resources is taken greater advantage of by people who are not even from those, by corporations that are not even from those countries. So if we're going to come in, we have to bring stuff with us for us to be able to set up shop, right? When I just came from Ethiopia, while I was in the Romo land in Ethiopia, all right, all the heavy equipment, all right, all the excavators, all the front loaders, all the tractors, all of them were owned by Chinese corporations, all of them. So that is a government, right, that's supporting these corporations. When we come as individuals, since the U.S. is not going to support us, what contingencies do we have in place to be able to be successful there? That's all I'm saying. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Nothing else. I agree with you guys. That's all.
I'm just on that one quick point.
Yes, sir.
I'm raising my children. I'm raising my children so that they can take care of me in my old age.
Yes, sir.
So you get that point. I'm raising my children so that they respect me, and when I'm old, they'll take care of me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Yeah, but I mean, Amin Ra makes a great point because I've been at the actual negotiating table, and they were like, "Okay, great idea. We love the idea. Where's the money coming from?
Where's the money?" That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I grew my business with no money in Africa. I found a need, and I didn't mind sleeping in the lower income places, whatever. And Africa economy was strong enough to support me until I could make more money, and then learn the system and make more money, and then move up. It's a process, but Africa allows this to happen. So I can come from my friend's couch, living on this couch, all the way to having my own home, and then having a good woman that I could afford, and then she giving me children, which is a blessing, and then me being able to raise and educate my children in a way to say, when dad gets old and can't take care of himself, who are you gonna let me live on the street in a tent? No, daddy, we won't let you live on a tent. I'm good. You see?
Yeah,
that's what life's all about.
If I'm
whether you go in whatever the business gold, whatever it is, at the end of the day, that's the thing that's going to really support us. Now, in America, homosexuality, AIDS, gender wars, all these things are disrupting this ability for us to be able to, especially the black men, to control our children, even our sons. We don't have control over them to say, are you going to be able to take care of me in my old age? America says Social Security is there for you, but we see that's going to fail.
It is. Social Security is going to fail. So this is what I would say.
Yeah, real quick, Fabian. Guys, can we hit that like button? We have 360 people watching, only 157 likes. Please hit that like button. All right, go ahead.
So this is what I would say. If you are of the posture to make a complete move to Africa and to separate yourself in totality from the United States, this is all I would say. Before you do that, right, while you're making that transition. Now, my travels to Morocco, to Ethiopia, and to Senegal, some of the structures that I saw had storefronts on the bottom and about 2 or 3 levels of housing on top, okay? You can create a microeconomy just by doing that, right? Buy some land in Africa, build you a store, right? Get a freight forwarder's license, an import-export license, bring goods in from the United States into your store in Africa, and then also, take goods that are made there in Africa, put inside of your store. Live in one of the units above your store and rent the other 2 out. That's a microeconomy that can support you. Now, what I would say, even if you do that just one time, I still wouldn't withdraw completely from the United States. I would duplicate that same thing about 5 to 10 times. And then after that, I would completely cut myself off from the United States, because now you have created a microeconomy that can sustain you and that can allow you to grow and allow you to continue to invest. And as always, keep your debts to an absolute minimum and eliminate all of your debts in the United States, every last one of them. And then I think if you do that, then it would be feasible to say, okay, I'm done with the United States. That, yeah.
Oh, oh, my bad. When you mean by cut off the United States, are we also including, like, once we set up everything, got that economy going, does that include making sure that we don't import products from the United States, or are we still going to be importing products from the United States? Because that's going to play a huge factor in that. So I want to get clarification on that.
Well, it honestly, Darius, that's a very good question. And the answer just depends on, whatever GDP the country that you're living in Africa has. If all the things that you need to survive are produced in your country or produced on the continent of Africa, and you can get them to your country without problem, then yeah, cut off the United States. But if you still need to depend on products that are manufactured in the United States, then don't cut the United States off. That would be foolish, in my humble opinion.
I was concerned about that because my
would allow us to keep our passport and we just have dual citizenship. I wouldn't, let's say I would move to Africa, but I wouldn't completely throw my passport away,
See, now the dialogue is starting to change a little bit, because initially it was, be done with America, all about Africa. Now it's, well, let's hold on to this passport just in case.
I've always said that.
I'm about to bring that up too, because
I never said renounce your American passport.
The reason why I brought that up, and the reason I was about to bring up what Fabian said, because what he said is a valid point. Because if we're really trying to move back to Africa, that includes your allegiance. Because when you think about other countries like China and Japan, they don't have dual citizenship. And when children turn 18, they have to make a choice. Where does your loyalty stand? Is it with Japan or is it with this other country? And if it's with this other country, your citizenship gets yanked out. Because in case of a conflict, let's say we move back to Africa and the United States has a conflict with us. And they say, okay, we want to issue sanctions, or we might want to do this to you. Who are you going to side with? Are you going to say, well, I don't want to kind of be on, you hop in the fence. You're going to have to choose. This is where my loyalty stands. This is where my allegiance will be. This is where I'm going to put my life down. This is what I'm going to serve my country. Because even if we have dual citizenship, we still have to pay taxes. We still have to pay taxes to the U.S. government, because you're still a U.S. citizen. It's not like we go back to Africa and we're not going to pay U.S. taxes. We still have to do that due to the expatriation bill.
Hey, listen, guys, I've had a great time chatting with you guys. Dionys, as always, thank you for allowing me to come on this platform. As I told you earlier, I have some place to be. Rahh, man, you're a very wise brother. Thank you for the for the food of thought that you've given me to chew on. Darius, thank you for your commentary. The other brother on the end in the red shirt, I didn't get your name, but thank you for what you added as well.
I'm David.
Okay, David, thank you. It was a pleasure to meet you. I'm Fabian. And to everybody that's watching, let's keep this dialogue going. Let's put a plan to action, and let's find us another homeland. All right, much love and respect.
All right, brother. And Darius, I was gonna bring somebody else on, brother, but we did you get all your questions in?
Yeah, that was pretty much that. I just wanted to come in and basically explain that to clarify some of those concerns that I had, because I felt like,
man, you gotta have to excuse me, because I'm
kind of being like, okay, we still gonna kind of do this and we can't accomplish this. But once I got the clarifications cleared up, then I understand we're on the same page. I agree with you.
All right, cool.
Thank you very much, Dinah.
No problem.
What is that?
All right, let me get a brother, police brutality. My Nigerian brother. I'm about to send you the link. And then after that, after this, we'll close out.
This is a long show.
Yeah, after after police brutality comes on, then we'll close out. But everyone, thank you for joining. Make sure you hit that like button. Hit that like button as you come into the chat. And the topic is, why don't Black Americans think outside of America? All right, police brutality. I just sent you the link, brother. Amaral, is there something you wanted to add? Okay, I think you have to step out. Shout out for the super chats. African countries are different. Kenya is not a representation of all of Africa. You're going to need money to make change in a country like Nigeria. I agree. I completely agree. Definitely not disagreeing with that. So.
I got it. What did I do with my wallet?
All right, brother, Pirate Brain. Is something you want to add?
Hey, nice meeting you too.
Police brutality. I'm you got to do it.
Whenever y'all want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Police brutality. Go
Hello?
ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Mute.
Okay, good night.
Yeah, I just want to say this, Diners. Nice conversation you guys had today. You still have this anti-Kabylon, rhetoric going on for the continent. People are like, oh, this and that. We have issues in the continent. Why should we go there? This fighting and debate. I don't get it sometimes. I did a live stream talk about the AU passport and also how to, for brothers to get their passports to move in, if you're traveling to the continent, because the American passport is powerful anyway. And also if for us for me from Nigeria, right, you can have dual citizenship. Okay, you can have the Nigerian passport and also have the American passport. Okay, so, and in some countries you can't. Some countries you can. So people should, not always, because anytime I'm going through, because I'm a moderator on your chat, Diners, and people are always coming in with that, I know that North Africans are Arabs, but people should understand that the real North Africans are as black as you, as me, and the fake North Africans are Arabs. Okay, so I think people need to do enough research. People like us need to come and teach them to learn a lot of stuff. It's like people saying, oh, I can just come with a few bucks to Africa and I get what I want. No, you need to plan. It's not even us that we go back to the continent where we're from, with some money. We have to take a substantial amount of money to be able to start a business or something. You can't just come there and you expect everything to just come out. And we also, I'm also saying that, okay, brothers that have a lot of expertise in terms of infrastructure would need a lot of capital to buy in machinery to do, if it's mining, dredging, and all kinds of exploration stuff, oil exploration and the rest too, and road construction and those kind of things, especially in the West African continent too. So, and, I was hearing things like people say if some of our brothers go to Africa and say they demand this, like this is theirs. No, you don't do that. You can't, you can't do that. That's bad. You need to go through a process. Okay, it's not like you can't come that with that cracker supremacy, so-called supremacy, and demand stuff. That's just what I want to say so far.
Cool. Well, I think we'll go ahead and close out, brothers. Anything you want to share in close? I think Amaral logged off. So, anything you want to share in closing, brother?
Yeah, I just want to say this, that for people coming to the continent, try and find out from those that have been to the continent. Just don't assume. That's just the truth about the matter. Also, for in the topic, our Black American brothers and sisters should try and think outside of this matrix called America with 3 Ks, because this system, as I will keep saying, is constantly pushing you guys down. So try and think outside this system, this Babylonian system called America, and always think of trying to establish something in the continent, because
at the end, as Amara said, Elder Amara said, like he's, he's more family orientated. He's trying to have that African experience that the American system has constantly been fighting for so many years. And that's all I have to say.
Okay. All right, brother. Well, we appreciate you coming on. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you go to Search for Uhuru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror, Search for Uhuru. Peace.
Peace.